Hi, I'm Rachel Maunder. I work with emerging speakers to help you find and craft your stories for your talks and presentations. Welcome to story tip number 4. Today I'm looking at which story. So in the previous tip number 3, I talked about getting an idea of all your stories, getting them in some kind of container that works for you, whether it's a notebook, an Excel sheet, a Google Doc, or a Word document, whatever it is. And I invited you to go through all your stories. And of course, you're going to keep adding to that list of stories because other stories will pop up, other stories will happen. But to think about the different ways, the different points they could be used to illustrate, because as I mentioned last time, each story can probably illustrate 2, 3, 4 different points. And in the same way, every point that you want to make in your speaking can be illustrated by probably 3 or 4 different stories. So just bear that in mind and then go through and think about which stories is going to be relevant. And you may have a standard talk that you deliver to similar audiences again and again and again, and in which case you could use the same stories if what holds those audiences together are similar traits. However, if you're getting to the point that you're delivering to a different audience, then maybe think about varying the story. If you are somebody that shares what I call a big story, then you are not necessarily going to be varying the story itself that much, because if that's kind of your signature program has come out of your story, then it is what it is. But think about how you can vary that story, maybe focus on different aspects. That, I have to say, is something I have an absolute sweet spot for. So if that seems really challenging to you, then let's have a conversation about how I can best help you do that. So just to recap then, thinking about which story or which part of your story you are going to use. So it won't be always the same old story or indeed the same part of the story. It's about really thinking and using your stories in a strategic way. So I've been Rachel Maunder, and thank you for joining me on Story Tip 4.